Hi again, everyone. Gary Digital Williams here on Boxing Along the Beltway. Our news and notes for this week, and suffice it to say, we have a very busy week coming up. Actually, the tail end of this week as we record this, a huge week coming up, starting as we record it tomorrow evening, Thursday evening, May 18th, with a big bout coming up. That's being national television. We have a number of Beltway boxers fighting on Friday, and of course that huge schedule on Saturday. That also takes us a little bit outside the area. Well, of course, part of it takes us way outside the area in London, England. But there's an added bout onto that day as well. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to give you everything that's coming up on this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Big bouts coming up. And then, folks, I'm going to ask for your assistance in something that quickly became very dear to me, and I'll explain the story when we get to it, but it was an amazing situation. I'll explain when we get to that later on. Boxing on the Beltway news and notes brought to you by Real-Time Pain Relief, from boxers to ballerinas, for shoulder pain to muscle strain and everything in between. Boxing Along the Beltway recommends Real-Time Pain Relief, the natural, plant-based, safe, fast, and effective ointment. If you go to www.freepainoffer.com, buy $10 worth of Real-Time Pain Relief, you get a free $10 tube of Real-Time Pain Relief. Rub it on, the pain is gone in real time. Well, we start, of course, with what's going on Thursday night at the Casino del Sol in Tucson, Arizona, and that's where undefeated Temple Hills, Maryland super middleweight Demetrius Ballard will be in action, in a situation in where he's had a number of opponents just fall out on him for whatever reason. He was basically supposed to fight Ulysses Sierra. That fell through. And then he's supposed to fight Dennis Duglin. And finally, he's now going to fight Adrian Luna, who is out of Puerto Rico. Oh, I'm sorry, he's out of Mexico. Excuse me, he's out of Mexico. And Adrian Luna's record is 20 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw with 13 KOs. And he competes for the first time in the United States on this bout. And both weighed in today at 167 pounds. Ballard was 167.4, Luna 167.8. And once again, it'll still be part of the Golden Boy Boxing telecast that'll take place on ESPN2 Thursday night, beginning at 10 p.m. Eastern Time from the Casino del Sol in Tucson, Arizona. So, wish Demetrius Ballard well on that. Demetrius Ballard, of course, 16-0, 12 KOs, and this is be his first scheduled 10-rounder. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. So, once again, Demetrius Ballard taking on Adrian Luna, and that'll be on tomorrow night, Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. Now, coming up on Friday, at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, a couple Beltway boxers will be on that card, and that's Joshua Dynamite Davis. He'll be in the middleweight. He'll be in the main event, I should say. Super featherweight out of Washington, D.C. He'll take on Carlos Rosario of Pensacola, New Jersey. That'll be in an 8-round main event bout, once again at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. Davis is 10-1, 4 KOs, but he has not fought since November of 2015, when he won a 4-round unanimous decision over Justin Lopez. That was at Martins Valley Mansion in Cockeysville, Maryland. So he has not fought since then. Rosario, 7-1, 4 KOs, coming off a 3rd-round TKO over Lance Williams. That was on March 11th in Philadelphia. That was at the Sugar House Casino in Philadelphia. Also in that card will be Juan de Xavier Rodriguez, now fighting out of Manassas, Virginia. He'll take on undefeated Tyrone Crawley Jr., and he is out of Philadelphia, and that's about scheduled for 6 rounds. And I'm just being told that before we get any further, the bout featuring Demetrius Ballard will now be on ESPN, not ESPN2. So it will be on ESPN, the big house, so to speak. So that'll be on ESPN now. That's once again Thursday, 10 o'clock on ESPN. Meanwhile, Joshua Davis, once again fighting Carlos Rosario, 8-round main event at the 2300 Arena. Rosario, by the way, 7-1, 4 KOs, 3rd-round TKO over Lance Williams. Juan de Xavier Rodriguez, who's 7-6-1, 5 KOs, he'll take on undefeated Tyrone Crawley Jr. out of Philadelphia, and that'll be about scheduled 6 rounds. Rodriguez broke a 6-round 4-bout losing streak when he won a 6-round split decision over David Gonzalez. That was on March 11th at the Sugar House Casino in Philadelphia. Crawley is the son of the legendary lightweight world title contender Tyrone Butterfly Crawley. Now, Tyrone Crawley was actually managed by the late, great Gilbert Ware, the D.C. Boxing and Wrestling Commission deputy commissioner at one time. Crawley Jr. is 6-0, no knockouts, 6-0. Comes off a 6-round unanimous decision win over Alexander Charnecko. That was on July 9th in Trenton, New Jersey. So that's be interesting to see what happens there in that bout. That'll be on Friday, May 19th from the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. And that leads us to Saturday. Now, Saturday, of course, a big day for us, not only here in this area and also in London, England. We'll get to those in just a second. But also on Saturday, Jordan Short Dog White will be on a card at the Laredo Energy Center. That'll be in Laredo, Texas. White is 4-0, 3 KOs. He'll take on Adam Blue Nose Lopez out of Glendale, California. He's 6-0, 3 KOs. White coming off a 6-round unanimous decision over Jose Elizondo. That was on November 5th at Rosecroft Raceway in Fort Washington, Maryland. Lopez comes off a 4-round unanimous decision over Adan Ochoa on April 15th in Burbank, California. Ochoa will go 6 rounds for the first time in his young pro career. White has done that already. Again, he did it his last bout against Jose Elizondo. Now, the card that bout is going to be on was scheduled to be televised on Fox Sports 1. The White Ochoa bout right now is a swing bout. It could end up on the telecast. It may not. We don't know. But the telecast will begin at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So hopefully that bout will make TV. If it does, he'll be the third Beltway boxer that'll be on TV on Saturday. Because as you know by now, you should know by now, the big bouts are coming up Saturday at both the Copper Box Arena in London, England, and at the MGM National Harbor Casino in Oxon Hill, Maryland. They're both televised by Showtime. So let me give you an idea of how this schedule is going to work on Saturday. Hopefully you have your tickets by now. Okay, first of all, if you haven't, you need to buy them. No question about that. The doors on Saturday open up at 3:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay? The doors open at 3:45. The first live bout at MGM will start at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay? That's how the schedule is going to work. Then, Showtime will show the bout between Gervonta Davis and Liam Walsh. Gervonta Davis defending his IBF Super Featherweight Championship against Liam Walsh from the Copper Box Arena in London, England. They will show that bout in the theater. It'll kick off Showtime's telecast at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. 6 p.m. Eastern Time for that bout. Now, immediately after the Davis-Walsh bouts concludes, then they'll do the 3 televised bouts that'll take place at the MGM Theater in Casino in Oxon Hill, Maryland. That includes, of course, Gary Russell Jr. defending his WBC Featherweight Championship against Oscar Escandón. It'll also mean the interim IBF Super Middleweight Championship between Andre Durrell and Jose Uzcategui, and the bout, the WBA 140-pound world title eliminator between Rancis Barthelemy and Kiri Relic. So those are the 3 bouts that will show on television. We talked about those bouts before. So those bouts will start immediately following the conclusion of the Gervonta Davis-Liam Walsh telecast from London, England. So it's all one big telecast. Now, let's give you the undercard bouts that you can see if you get to the MGM Arena by 4 p.m. You'll start seeing these bouts. Antonio Russell will be in a 6-round bout. Of course, one of the younger brothers of Gary Russell Jr. He'll be in a 6-round bout against Jovani Fuentes. He's out of Puerto Rico, Bayamon, Puerto Rico. Antonio Russell is 7-0, 5 KOs. He was the 2015 Beltway Boxing Rookie of the Year. And he's coming off a 6-round unanimous decision over Rudolph Hedge. That was on June 28th at the Sands Bethlehem Event Center in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Fuentes is 7-8 with 6 KOs, however. and he has won 2 of his last 4. His last bout was a 6-round majority decision loss to Titus Williams. That was on July 9th in Trenton, New Jersey. So that bout scheduled for 6 rounds. Antonio Russell taking on Ovani Fuentes. Of course, Antoine Russell will make his pro debut on the card. He'll take on Josh Ross out of West Monroe, Louisiana, by way of Westmore, California. Ross is 2-3-4. That's the record. 2 wins, 3 losses, 4 draws. Of course, we know Antoine Russell, member of the 2016 Olympic team. Ross is coming off a 4-round unanimous decision victory over Gregorio Herrera. That was on June 25th in Monroe, Louisiana. So he's usually very tough. He's only been knocked out 1 time in his pro career. Once again, he's 2-3-4. Josh Ross out of West Monroe, Louisiana. Also on the card, Alexander the Spartan Marine out of Bethesda, Maryland, by way of Romania. He's undefeated 12-0, 9 KOs, and he is going to face a veteran, to say the very, very least. He is facing a guy by the name of Herman Meraz. He's known as Panteonero. He's out of Agua Prieta, Sonora, Mexico, and he is 30 years old, and his record is 55 wins, 43 losses, 1 draw, and 1 no contest. And if you add that up, yes, he's had 100 bouts in his pro career. He's trying to break a 5-bout losing streak. His last loss was to Beckman Soyobayev. That was on March 10th in Tustin, California. And Meraz has fought continuously since 2005. I looked at his record, and there was no breaks. He hadn't taken any time off, basically. Alexander Marine is 12-0, 9 KOs, came off that big win over Johnny Dieterman on June 11th at the ABC Sports Complex in Springfield, Virginia. That got Marine his first regional title, the IBO, International Boxing Organization, International Bantamweight title on that card. So we don't know how long this fight's scheduled to be. Maybe 6 rounds, could be 4 rounds, depending on the schedule of the bouts in front of it. So we'll see what happens there. Also on the card, Kobe the Soldier Breedy out of Bridgetown, Barbados, now fighting out of Clinton, Maryland. He is the super lightweight, 9-0, 4 KOs. He'll take on Wilfredo Garriga out of Juana Diaz, Puerto Rico. And Garriga is 4-6-1, 3 KOs. Breedy coming off a 6-round unanimous decision win over Roy Garcia. That was at UDC on March 25th. The University of District of Columbia Physical Activities Center. And Garriga is 4-6-1. He broke a 4-bout losing streak with a first-round knockout over Ray Thomas Arroyo Figueroa. That was in Agua Buena, Puerto Rico on May the 13th. So he's just fought not too long ago. So he's getting right back into action here. So that is the card for Saturday, May the 20th. We'll be we'll be podcasting throughout the night, hopefully giving you some updates on the card, our thoughts on the undercard, and Juan March and I we'll have our thoughts about the big bouts coming up that night. It's a huge day for us, folks. So if you have not bought your tickets, we ask you please support Gary Russell Jr. and the other Beltway boxers that are on the card, and come out and pack the place on Saturday, May 20th at the MGM National Harbor Casino in Oxon Hill, Maryland. Remember, the doors open at 3:45 in the afternoon on Saturday, May 20th. First bout starts at 4 p.m. Now, I'm going to do something, folks, that I normally do not do. And I'm not asking for myself. I want to let you know up front. I have a request of my audience, and I'm going to do this also on the blog as well at some point. But I really have a request of the audience. And again, it's not for me. I'm not asking for money. I'm not even asking for money at all. Okay? Earlier today, and this comes with a story, and I got to tell the story in order to make you understand what's going on. Earlier today, I was asked to come to a local internet radio station here in the Washington, D.C. area, actually in D.C. proper, called We Act Radio. We Act Radio. And I'm going to explain why I'm telling you their names in a moment. And I was there to do some promos for a show that I'm working on. Has nothing to do with boxing. Has something to do with another subject. And I was asked to do some promos for that particular show. But I was there, obviously, to hear it for another reason. And it was a higher power, God, that was telling me that you need to be here. You need to see what was going on. Because while I was there, and we hadn't done the promos yet, We Act Radio was having a press conference to announce something that they were working on. And working on growing a bookstore, creating a bookstore. Now, We Act Radio is located in Southeast Washington, D.C., which is known as the poorest section of the nation's capital. It also is a section that has one of the highest illiteracy rates in the city. It is also a section, which I didn't know, and I've been here all my life, and I didn't really think about this, where there are no bookstores in that section of D.C. And so We Act Radio is trying to build basically a bookstore, or create a bookstore. Let me say that, create a bookstore. And they want to do it in honor of a young lady by the name of Sharnice Milton. Now, as we record this, today is May 17th, 2017. On May 27, 2015, let me explain who Sharnice Milton was. Sharnice Milton was. Sharnice Milton was a young lady who originally from D.C., and she was a graduate of Ball State University, was a communications major there, got her master's at Syracuse University, and came back to D.C. and was looking for ways to apply her craft. And one of the things that was stopping her was that she had a speech impediment. And it made her kind of shy. But she got some perseverance, and I guess some courage for her, and she came across a local newspaper here in the city called Capital Community Newspapers Incorporated. They do a paper called East of the River, which talks about all things in the southeast section of Washington D.C. If you ever heard of a neighborhood called Anacostia, that's in that section of town. And so she was covering news for them. And this particular night, May 27, 2015, she was actually doing a story for another publication here in the city called Hill Rag, which is about things that go on in Capitol Hill. And this particular night, she was actually getting off the bus and transferring on to another metro bus, which is our public transportation here in D.C. And by sad happenstance, she came across two guys who were fighting one another, and they were fighting each other with guns. And one man shot at the other man while the other man was trying to escape on the bus. And the second man, decided to use Sharnice Milton as a human shield. And when the first person shot at the other guy, he shot right at Sharnice, and Sharnice was killed. We're coming up on the second anniversary of that. I hate to say anniversary, that's just a bad word, but the second year after that tragedy. And they still don't know who did this. They have not found the killers of Sharnice Milton. But one thing that we learned about Sharnice after her passing was that she loved to read. She had a lot of books in her parents' home. Her parents were at this event that I went to today, and they told the crowd that was there, that she loved to read. Now, here's where I'm going with this. We Act Radio is creating a bookstore in memory of Sharnice Milton. It'll be called the Sharnice Milton Community Bookstore. Now, they're not asking for any money. And here's where I'm asking you. They're not asking for any money. What they need are books. They're looking for donations of books to fill this bookstore. So if you have any books that you're not using, that you're not reading, you have books that maybe your kids have outgrown, if you can donate to this bookstore, they would really appreciate it, and I would too. And I'm gonna get my books together and donate the books that I have, that my kids have, to them. Now, if you are in the DC area and you want to drop them by We Act Radio, let me tell you first that the best time to do that will be Wednesday evenings from 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're in the area, in the DC area, and you want to drop by some books, 5 to 8 p.m. on Wednesdays. If you'd like to send some books to We Act Radio, here's the address. And it's We Act Radio, 3 words. The address is 1918 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue, Southeast, Washington, D.C., 20020. Let me give that address one more time. We Act Radio, ACT Radio, We Act Radio, 1918 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue, Southeast, Washington, D.C., 20020. Their website is let me phrase that because they don't like the www over there. I learned that while I was doing the promo. It's weactradio.com. That's the website if you want to learn more about what they do. But on May 27th, which is a week from Saturday, they're having a special celebration of Charnice's life at We Act Radio. And I guess you can bring books during that day as well if you're in the area. But once again, 1918 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue, Southeast, Washington, D.C., 20020. Hopefully, when this podcast is archived on Box on the Beltway, Google app for Android, and on Spreaker.com, you will see Charnice's picture, where I would normally put an ad or my pictures there, or a poster for one of the bouts. I'm going to put her picture there. Because Charnice Milton was me when I was her age. You know, I was a community reporter for a number of years, still am to an extent. I still do some work for the Washington Informer, which is a bigger community paper than the one she worked on, but she was definitely headed toward that in that route. And you know, I spent time going through Southeast, especially covering high school basketball when I was doing telecasts for high school basketball. You know, I'd go to some of the schools in the Southeast section of the city, and I always felt safe, but you just never knew. And Charnice was just at the wrong place at the wrong time, and unnecessarily her life was taken. And you know, that can happen to anybody, especially, you know, you're trying to do great things for your city, and these sad things happen. So once again, if you are able to donate books to the Charnice Milton Community Bookstore, I'd really appreciate it. And let me give you the address one more time. 1918 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue, Southeast, Washington, D.C., 20020. If you can donate some books, we really appreciate it. Again, if you're in the area, they accept donations on Wednesdays from 5 to 8 p.m. That's the best time to send donations. So we hope you will do that. I thank you for listening to my request there. So we look forward to seeing you Saturday, May 20th at the MGM National Harbor Casino in Oxon Hill, Maryland, for one of the biggest days, I think, in Beltway boxing history. 2 local fighters, 2 world champions, 2 locations on the same network. That is amazing. That shows you the growth we've had in the Beltway region. So once again, doors open 3:45 p.m. Eastern Time. First bouts at 4 p.m. from the MGM National Harbor Casino, and you will be able to see Gervonta Davis versus Liam Walsh on the big screen at the MGM National Harbor. Look forward to seeing you there. Until then, I'm Gary Digital Williams. Of course, Box on Beltway News and Notes brought to you by Real Time Pain Relief. Rub it on. The pain is gone in real time. Thanks for joining me, everybody. And always remember to keep supporting the best boxing in the world. The boxing along the Beltway. Take care.